So, from today's game, so how do you feel about the game Dignitas played today?
We didn't have the best results, right? I think we've been going on a lose streak recently. Haven't won in a game. Haven't won a game in a while. We're experiencing some problems. I think the meta is like very team fight centric, so we're not very good at team fights. So we just keep losing.
Oh, okay. So, do you think that the team fight, like the meta and the team fight, is like not suited for you guys? That's the main reason for the losing strike. How are you gonna adjust to that? Like and win try to win the rest of the games in the split.
Yeah. I mean, last split we got a lot of our wins just through laning phase. But right now it's harder to do that. You kind of have to team fight. Also, with there's like an upcoming patch that's changing dragons and heralds, which is making team fighting more important. So it's not like we can avoid it and not team fight at all, because then we'll be at a huge disadvantage. So we just have to fix it.
Okay, okay. So like we saw in the game that you guys kind of were winning until the first Herald's team fight, right? So I guess if you want to try to fix your team fights, how are you going to do that?
It's like there's quite a few things. There's like first setup, there's communication in the team fight, and then there's also how you team fight. A lot of it just comes down from like, okay, we talk about how each person should be using their abilities, how each person should be positioning, what we should be talking about during the team fight, before the team fight, and then we review that in scrims, so that we can improve on it.
Okay.
We're doing that right now. It's just we're not improving as fast as we would like. I don't think in any of our games we've lost like from laning phase. We usually just lose the game from team fighting.
Okay, okay. So only team
Yeah.
fight issues, I guess. Like if you fix that, everything will be fine. Let's jump to you as for the questions. So you won your LCS 200 win in about a month ago, right? So how do you feel about winning that, and how do you look at your career like from the long term? Like how do you feel about your own like pro career? I guess winning the 200 win and everything.
Yeah, I've been playing for a while now. I did take a break for 1 year, so it's not like the full duration, but I've experienced a lot of highs in my career, some lows. Kind of been through quite a few teams now. I was with TSM, CLG, then TSM again, now Dignitas. Um, so I've experienced many different teams. I feel like I've had like a pretty good career, and I do want to keep going at it. Obviously, like I think we're last right now, so we need to do better. Um, yeah, this is probably like I've never done this poorly in my career before. I mean, the split hasn't ended yet, but yeah, we're definitely going through some struggles right now.
Okay, okay. So, from the 200 wins that you won, which one was
Yeah.
probably like the most memorable? Like you can just remember from the top of your head.
Uh, I mean, I remember a lot of the games that I played in finals where it was like getting my title. I can't pinpoint like a single game. It's pretty hard, but I think one that pops up the most is 2017 summer against Immortals in finals. It was the fourth game. We were up 2-1. We were behind quite a bit. I was playing Recon that game. I think we were down 10k gold, and we ended up coming back through team fighting. Um, that was probably the most memorable one.
So, being a very experienced pro, what are your opinions on the new support players that are coming up in LCS? Do you have a memorable player that you think has good potential from like the point of view of a very experienced pro gamer?
Yeah, I mean the turnover rate in LCS is really high. We always get new players. The supports that are new for this split is Ignar. I mean, he did take a break as well, so now he's back. There's also TSM's new support. They originally had Mia, and then they had Chime, so that's two supports. There was Sven on C9. He role swapped from AD carry. And then I think everyone else is the same. But even then, like, that's three new supports that have come into the scene. So it's quite a bit. I think in terms of like support, there hasn't been like a super standout player in the league. I would say Vulcan is playing pretty consistently. EG plays really well as a team. And then some other teams might have like pretty good performances in scrims, but they're not having as good results on stage. So even though like maybe some support players are playing really well in scrims, they're not doing too hot on stage, and then, well, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? If you're not playing well when it counts.
So everyone needs to work harder.
Yeah, everyone is fighting.
Okay.
Everyone needs to practice.
Let me see. So on to some questions about the league. I wouldn't ask this to new pro gamers, but since you've been in the scene for quite a while, you probably have some understanding of what's going on in LCS, so that's why I wanted to ask you this. So we've heard that recently, like LCS has been like some teams have been like cutting off like employees. Have you heard about that? So do you know actually what's going on? Because like from the outside view, we were kind of like worried a little bit about LCS as in like the league and how it's doing.
Yeah, I think right now overall, like the economy is experiencing a recession. The Fed is raising rates. That means that we're cutting down investments on like risky assets. So one of them would be LCS, right? LCS is fairly new. It's more of a speculative investment, and that's why we're seeing cutoffs. There's a lot of rising costs in the industry right now, and investment is being cut off. So that's one reason why we're seeing layoffs. That's my point of view. I don't know if that's the truth, but I think that's likely the reason, because that's the reason for a lot of cutoffs in companies outside of esports.
Oh, okay. So everyone in US is experiencing this recession right now, not just esports, right?
Yes, we're not officially in a recession yet, but we're experiencing really high inflationary moves across the board, whether it be from like rents or grocery costs, oil costs, raw materials. So there's a lot of costs that are going up, and LCS investors are most likely tapering, but I don't have the full picture. I'm just a player. I don't know the investment side of it and the business aspect.
Okay, thank you. That was great, actually. So what do you think is a good way to like bring up like LCS viewership? Because we saw that Game of Thrones prequel, like those kind of stuff, it kind of brings attention to the league. But other from that, what are your opinions on how to bring the viewership back to LCS?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of ways I could think of increasing viewership. One of them would be for an NA team to do really well at Worlds. If we got it to finals, right, probably people would pay attention to us.
Yeah.
Another way is actually just to improve the LCS product overall, whether it be having more interesting storylines about the players, about the teams that the audience feels connected to. I remember when I was a viewer many years ago, like maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, I really enjoyed watching the LCS because there wasn't this negative stigma that LCS was a bad region, or that our players weren't good. We were just watching the league and having fun, and there was a lot of compelling personalities in the league, and a lot of interesting storylines where a team was a rival of another one, where they really wanted to beat each other. But nowadays, you don't feel like that as much. I don't know if it's because I'm a competitor, or if it's just because the league has for sure changed. It definitely feels a lot different from how it was like many years ago. But I feel like stagnation is pretty normal in a product like LCS because it's been around for a long time. Um, so
But I mean,
there are ways to improve it
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. On the other of the interview, I want because we're the media from China, so kind of want to like speak a little bit Mandarin to our Chinese fans because you have a lot of fans in China. So, can I switch to Mandarin?
可以，
OK，就是你在中国的绰号叫小王，你知道吗？小王。
对，
So 你可以跟就是中国的一些粉丝们说一些中文吗？
你好，我好像是2年前来了中国，去打世界赛，然后呃
什么？
，sorry，
那我帮你剪掉，剪掉。
OK，好，剪
OK
掉，
OK。
呃我好像是2年前来了中国去打世界赛，我希望以后可以再来中国，可以看一下粉丝吃好吃的，然后看一下家庭。
哦，你家人在中国是吗？
对，我好像我姥姥姥爷都在中国，
哪一个城市？
他们住在他们住在长春。
哦，哎，你中
我
文
也有，对我也有一些亲戚在北京。
哦wow. Your accent is really good, like Beijing accent.
大部分的人说我的口音听起来像像东北人，
哦，OK OK。
因为我是东北人。
OK 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 awesome. You know more than me, actually. I think. 你最喜欢的就是中国食物是什么？
最喜欢吃的是什么？火锅，特别喜欢吃火锅。我经常吃海底捞。
超 OK OK，谢谢。那你有最后有什么话想要对粉丝们说的吗？最后再加一句感谢的话。
谢谢支持我，然后希望以后还会有机会来到中国
好的，
打比赛。
谢谢你的采访。Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.
Work hard, and I hope you guys will continue successful for your personal career and the team.
Thank you.
Bye.